Dennis O'Rourke.
Mr Speaker, in this year's election, only one party addressed the widespread concerns that New Zealanders have with the current immigration policy, and that was New Zealand First. And New Zealand First will be making immigration a major theme of our role in this parliamentary term too, and will probably be the only party to do so. This government has a completely irresponsible and irrational immigration policy that's causing great damage to the interests of New Zealand. The government has been boasting of net immigration at uncontrolled record levels. They are actually telling the public that uncontrolled record net immigration is some kind of measure of success. They claim that this massive unplanned immigration is an achievement. In fact, the record numbers of migrants show that New Zealand has a slack, uncontrolled immigration policy, in effect an open door policy. The numbers of migrants are nothing short of an indictment of this government's incompetence on immigration. For a start, what record numbers of immigrants show is that no consideration is given to the relationship between immigration and housing policy, while every day brings new horror stories about the housing policy crisis, especially in Auckland and Christchurch. In Auckland, there are soaring house prices as desperate people scramble to get a home. Hundreds of families are left to squat in caravans and garages. The government is full of empty rhetoric about the housing crisis. Its failure to address the crisis over 6 years continues. This government does not have any genuine concern with the desperate housing situation faced by thousands of New Zealanders, because the one meaningful action they could take today, if they were serious about housing, would be to turn off the tap to new migrants. Of course, we can't stop New Zealanders returning to New Zealand, and neither would we want to. But we do not have to let the rest of the world in. All the government's talk about housing is bogus. It's a total smokescreen. It is only looking at one side of the supply and demand equation for housing, because it stupidly refuses to deal with the demand for housing generated by high immigration. Cut immigration now. That's what we say. That's the quickest and most effective way to relieve pressure on the housing market immediately. It is utterly astonishing, if not bizarre, that the government cannot make the connection between immigration and housing. But the government's immigration policy is deeply flawed for a whole range of reasons, not just housing. Take jobs. We have over 140,000 unemployed. Tens of thousands more have given up on finding any sort of job at all. Yet migrants are flooding in on a temporary work visa basis. The wages and conditions of most New Zealanders are hardly moving, leaving tens of thousands of families in severe financial stress. And it's no wonder massive immigration is undermining the pay of ordinary New Zealanders. The truth is that the government is only too happy to see that happening. Cheap labour is what its corporate cronies want, and it fits with National's commitment to globalisation. And then there's the foreign student visa racket, and racket it is. Why are we allowing foreign students to work in New Zealand? In case the government hasn't noticed, there are thousands of very able young New Zealand school leavers and graduates who can't find a job. Why should they have to compete with hordes of foreign students? It doesn't make sense. And of course, if New Zealanders are displaced in the job market, they may well end up on the unemployment benefit. Mr Speaker, thanks to wildly excessive immigration, New Zealand now has one of the fastest growing populations in the OECD. That is causing great stress on housing, the labour market and our infrastructure generally. And there is no follow-up to see just how well these migrants have settled in New Zealand. What checking is being done to ensure migrants have not become a burden on the taxpayer? We certainly have a lot more taxi drivers and some on benefits, so just what skills are we actually getting? There is no genuine attempt to really verify that at all. This is now an open door land. It's the usual national tactic. Get no facts, keep no data.
Order. Now, this is the second member I've had to remind and the third member who has breached. When the bell goes in the general debate, people sit. About 2 or 3 words are okay, but not the next couple of sentences. Judith Collins.
Speaker. Speaker,